Ticket or ticket.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Segmente número tres. Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Trading Academy. As always, I am your host, Josh Lillquist, talking about the do's and the don'ts of the financial markets, how to get started if you're brand new, or if you're a seasoned investor, but you're looking for a little bit more consistency. Trading Academy is a local academy, your local academy, to teach you those techniques and concepts and how to do that with confidence, whether it's investing for the long term or trading for the shorter term. On the last segment, we covered a few topics on how to actually have a plan with steps within it to accelerate your learning journey with investing and trading. Some of the things that Trading Academy does to speed that up, but also help you build that confidence with your finances. Because the crazy part about this, Al, this is an industry and part of our lives, probably one of the most important pieces of our lives that they don't teach in school. So you need to have some sort of education to build this strategy. And Trading Academy has local academies to guide you through that, whether it's for short-term income and long-term wealth. If you missed part of those seats for the free trading and investing workshops, simply just text the word investing to the number 210. That's for 2 seats, one for you and a friend. Or you can go to tradingacademy.com and you can pick your own seat and date there. So these classes are about an hour and a half to 2 hours long, guiding you through how to get started with these markets, whether it's for income strategies or retirement strategies. Text investing to the number 210, or go to tradingacademy.com. Also, we love our followers and subscribers on the podcast. Simply just go to Investing and Trading Live, wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. So Al, on this next segment here, it's amazing how the psychology of people these days, it really has been forever. It really trains ourselves to do certain things a certain way or not to do things a certain way. Now, people that are, there's always people that are always looking to improve their lives, whether it's building retirement strategies or a second income strategy. But nobody really knows how to actually do that. We talked about some of the steps in the last segment to accelerate it. But what's happening is, if you don't know how to do something, it makes you feel so pessimistic about it, and then what happens is you do nothing.
Exactly.
You do nothing about it, and then you go week after week, month after month, worst off, year after year, financially in that same spot. And that's one of those things you got to ask yourself that hard question. Are you okay with being in the same spot you are right now financially 2 to 5 years down the road? And it does take a little bit of action. But I know you have an article that you want to talk about that you read that kind of dives into this a little bit, but then we'll talk about what are some of the steps you can do so this doesn't happen to you.
Yeah, I think what we've been seeing a lot, Josh, over the last few months is people that are more pessimistic about their future, their financial future. I just happened to see this Wall Street Journal poll that I think is really important. And what they found is that the share of people who say they have a good chance of improving their standard of living fell to 25%. That's a record low in surveys dating back to 1987. More than 3/4 said they lack confidence that life for the next generation will be better than their own. 70% of the people said they believe the American dream, that's if you work hard, you'll get ahead, no longer holds true or never did. That's the highest level in nearly 15 years of the survey. And it doesn't make any difference. Age-wise, demographically, it's everybody. It seems to be falling into that pessimistic situation. Even people with more than $100,000 in household income are still in that pessimistic category. So what this really points out is how important that extra income portion of your life is. You don't have to be in that category of people that are pessimistic about things. What we think is really important is if you want to be successful, financially secure, what we would tell you is that what that really is, it's the freedom to wake up every day and do what you want to do, not what you're forced to do. And unfortunately, too many people are forced to do something they don't want to do. And part of the problem and part of the responsibility is Wall Street. Wall Street is not doing a good job of getting people into the right assets and the right strategies to do what's in their benefit, they are putting people into things that are to their benefit.
So let's dissect that a little bit, Al, because you're being told to go do certain things, and if everybody's in that same category, how do you actually get out of it? And we talk about those other assets to get into that allow some buying power, the efficiencies of time as well, but what are some of those different assets that we have the opportunity to utilize that most people have never, maybe not even heard about, but if they did, they have no clue what they are?
Yeah, and most of the time, if they've heard about them, it's maybe negative things they've heard, and those are from people that maybe.
What are those assets though, Al?
Okay, the assets are things like the futures market, the foreign exchange market, the options market. All three of those have leverage. And what we mean by leverage is that a small amount of money, let's just say $1. $1 can control something that might be worth $10 or $20 or $50 or $100. I mean, that's leverage. That's getting the maximum productivity out of each dollar that you have. And for a lot of people that aren't where they want to be or where they need to be, and especially if you're getting close to retirement, you may have to do something much different than what you're doing, because what you're doing has failed you so far. These assets have the ability for you to, let's say, catch up faster. They have the ability to show you how to generate income even in retirement. Even if you don't have much in a retirement account, you can still use the markets in the small amount you have to generate income using these leveraged assets.
So let's address the other challenge people have. You hear a lot of times, well, I just don't have the time to do that.
Exactly.
Well, what does these markets give you the opportunity to do outside of normal business hours?
Well, the futures market and the foreign exchange market trade essentially around the clock. So you've got almost 24 hours of opportunity there for you to make choices.
So in essence, what that means is you dictate your time, and we talked about that at the very beginning of the show.
You dictate your time.
So say you work during the day, you have an opportunity to create an income strategy at night if you want to. Say it's 8 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night or midnight, whatever that is.
Right.
Those two markets are actually open.
Exactly, and people are saying, well, I don't like midnight, I don't want to have to sit in front of a computer for 2 or 3 or 4 hours and watch something.
Then don't, you don't have to.
Not only do you not have to, you shouldn't. If you do that, you're gonna fail. You might as well just go to a casino, throw your money away and have a little bit of fun with it.
So what can you do then? Because people think that you have to be sitting at your computer all day long. How do you actually do that?
What you do, you have to use a strategy that has a set of rules you follow. And one of the problems that people have as human beings is they have a tendency to make things more complicated, or to think the more complicated something is, the more effective it's going to be.
Then how do you minimize your time on the computer then? How do you set things up?
Okay, well, you set things up by using that step-by-step process that once you have you've used it enough times so you have the confidence in using it, you're only going to spend maybe a few minutes putting an individual trade together. If you want to do multiple trades, if you're spending more than an hour or so a day doing that, you're probably doing it wrong. This is the way that people do this, not only with confidence, but with the least amount of stress, because this strategy we have, it's part of what we call core strategy. And that strategy, just at the heart of it, uses something that can't be argued, and that's the relationship between supply and demand, or buyers and sellers. That's something that will never stop, and that's the one thing, no matter what's happening in the economy or in the markets, the one thing that will always be important is, are there more buyers and sellers? Are there more sellers and buyers? So the important thing, though, is to be able to identify where they are, and then use a strategy that has 6 steps that you follow, no matter what you're trading, no matter what your time frame is. Take as much as possible your brain and your gut out of the equation. You have to control the emotions, and you have to do that, or one of the ways that you can do it, and what we use is a rules-based step-by-step process that is designed to do the one thing that's important, and that's find where the buyers are, find where the sellers are. And that's not me buying and selling, or you buying and selling, Josh. It's the institutions. It's the people that have hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. That's what moves price, but they will try to hide that. So our strategy, as kind of unbelievable as it sounds, can help identify where the things are that they're trying to hide, that you take advantage of.
And it's really putting probabilities in your favor. Low risk, high reward, high probability entry points, and that's going to be at or near a current return to price, which will be supply and demand, and that can be argued. That's just like anything that we buy and sell in our lives. And once you're able to do that, that is actually how you actually build wealth, is having more income strategies in your life. And we have a lot of listeners right now that want to understand a factual strategy, which is based off of facts, which is supply and demand, that can't be changed, that removes those emotions. So now you don't have emotions in there, no opinions, you're basing decisions off those facts. So I would like to invite you to a free investing and trading workshop where we talk about that supply and demand strategy, what that looks like, what that might be as far as the steps. So that way you can see, hey, are you able to fit this into your life? You dictate your time, you dictate your schedule, and you dictate your capital, as I was alluding to with leveraged assets. Simply to come into one of these free investing and trading workshops, just text the word investing to the number 210 right now for 2 seats, or go to tradingacademy.com and you can pick your own seat there. Well, we've got a lot more to discuss. We're going to continue that discussion on income and retirement. We'll talk more about 401ks and IRAs coming up next. This is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live. We will be right back. Okay. All right, mister, we will go segment 4. Let's talk about some retirement accounts here. Since we're live on YouTube, we got to give our YouTube viewers some action here with retirements. I know we got a lot of people listening that want to build and create and protect those retirement accounts. All right, here we go. Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Trading Academy. As always, I am your host, Josh Lillquist. On the last segment, we talked about why people are so pessimistic about their financial future, but steps and a step-by-step strategy that can guide you through not being pessimistic about that future. Building an accelerated path to build that confidence for your financial future, and building that with simple steps, and all you got to do is follow that. And how you do that is a rules-based strategy based off of supply and demand, and that is something that can't be changed in anything. If you have more buyers than sellers for anything in our lives, price will go up. More sellers than buyers, price will go down. And think about the housing market. That's a very good example. The same thing. Just replace house with stock. Same concept. And we had a lot of people texting in and going to the website, to the Trading Academy website for those free investing and trading workshops. If you did miss seats for that, simply just text the word investing right now for 2 seats for a free trading and investing workshop. That's text investing to the number 210. These workshops are going to be during the week, the weekends, days, evenings, anybody can attend. You can also go to tradingacademy.com. That's tradingacademy.com, and you can pick your own seat and your own date there. Also, we love our subscribers and followers on the podcast. Simply just go to Investing and Trading Live, wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. So Al, in this next segment here, we still got more to discuss about wealth. And anytime we were referencing the word wealth, that's your retirements, your 401ks, your IRAs. And a lot of people have those. And a lot of the conversations that I'm having these days is, hey, I've had my 401k for many, many years, but it's just not, I know I'm not going to have enough to retire. So they want to build an income strategy, like we talked about in the last couple segments, to build that wealth.
Right.
There also are a lot of people that have been building these for many years, had great jobs, and they were fortunate enough to build a solid retirement account. What they're thinking is, I need to protect this and have more longevity. So, because one of the things that I've been hearing, which is pretty cool, they want to be able to leave a legacy for their families. And that's something that you just can't beat. If you're able to feel that feeling of building a legacy and helping others, knowing that they're gonna be secure as, we'll say as time goes by. Now, you've helped a lot of people create a strategy to do that. Obviously, we talked about in the last segment, building that wealth. Now let's discuss these 401ks and IRAs that for people that have these, and they don't wanna have a stranger, quote unquote money manager or advisor, just selling them funds, eating away at the fees. We talked about in last week's show about having that hand in the cookie jar. They're always taking fees out of there. I want you to discuss a little bit, what are some of the things that Trading Academy does a little bit differently to help protect and grow those retirement accounts so people have the opportunity to leave a legacy for their family?
Well, most people, Josh, are in some sort of a 401k, 403b, one of the employer-sponsored retirement plans. And to be honest with you, most people have no idea what's in their plan. They maybe know when they first set it up, and then they just kind of forget about it and put it on cruise control. So one of the things that we want to tell people is, look, let's look at what's in your retirement plan. And then within that plan, you have a lot of opportunities to do something different. You can trade within those plans. But you also have to do something to make sure you are protected. And to be honest with you, in a traditional retirement plan, an employer-sponsored retirement plan, there's very little that you can do to protect those. So we can show you how to hedge those portfolios. We also can show you how you might want to do something different than put most of the money that you're putting aside for retirement into something other than a 401k, maybe a self-directed IRA. Because in 401ks, you're limited as to the choices you have. The leveraged income strategies we're talking about typically are not available in a 401k, but they are in an IRA. You mentioned fees. The fees, in fact, a lot of people don't even know they're paying fees in a 401k, but the fees can exceed 2%. Even at 2%, over the course of your working years, it's gonna cost you over $150,000 in what could be in your pocket.
And we built that out in last week's show. If you missed part of last week's show, just check out the podcast archives on that. I believe that was segment 3 last week.
Yeah, so the fees are a huge thing, and people need to understand what the impact of that can be. Even small fees, 2% doesn't sound like a lot. And people might say, well, but I have to pay these people something for what they're doing. Really? What are they doing? Well, who's making the decisions in your 401k?
That's interesting you say that, because I've heard that comment. Oh, I'm happy to pay them. Well, let's just say you're not happy to pay somebody to just hold your money when you can do the same thing for essentially free.
You can do it for free, but think about this. Not only are you paying them when the market's going up, you're paying them when the market is flat and sideways. You're also paying them when you're losing. When the market's going down, and let's be honest, if you have a 401k or if you have mutual funds, even outside of a 401k, when the market corrects or crashes, you will lose money. They will go down in value. How are you being protected? How are your advisors telling you to protect yourself? And they're not.
Here's a good reference to that, Al. Football is starting this week, by the way, go Vikings. And it's like, you have these comments all the time with people that when a player is not doing well, or a team is not doing well, they never say, I'm happy to pay them as they lose. Right? But that's what's happening in your retirement accounts. Even if the market goes up, they're taking their money first, and then you get a small gain from that with the advisors and brokers. Not to poo-poo on advisors and brokers, they're people as well. I don't want to poo the people, but it's the industry is what's really setting people up for failure, because we talk about the stats week after week, month after month. People just don't have enough to retire.
Yeah, and so if you're in retirement or close to retirement and you don't have what you need or what you want to have to live the lifestyle you want in retirement, you have to do something different, because what you've been doing is not working for you.
So what if somebody has an IRA? So one of the things that Trading Academy teaches is how to direct your own retirements.
Correct.
So let's just say somebody has an IRA and they want to take control of that, which is what I've been hearing probably everybody that's coming in. I want more control of my financial future. What are some of the strategies that can be applied when you do it yourself?
Well, you have the opportunity to use a number of different strategies. You can use stocks if you want to. You want to use mutual funds, you can. We might be able to change your mind about that. But you can use things like the futures market, the foreign exchange market, the options market. You can do things to benefit when the market's going up, when the market's going down, and when the market's going sideways. And I think people just think about up markets, and that's the only really emphasis they put on investing and trading is participating in the up market. Well, more than half the time it's either down or sideways. It's sideways or flat many months longer than people think it is. And if you're not doing something to benefit from that, you're just basically losing money to inflation. When the market goes down, are your portfolios going down with them? A lot of people, most people that we see that come into these workshops have had that happen to them. Yeah, even when the market's going up, they feel they're not doing that well. But when the market goes down, why are you losing money? Why are your portfolios going down? Well, number one, you don't have protection on them. And number two, you're not using the right strategy to make money when the market goes down. Josh has referenced football. You know, when the Vikings, let's say the Vikings are going to play the Packers, Vikings don't just show up and say, oh, let's just wing it and see what happens. They have a plan based on how they know the Packers play. What if the Packers change what they're doing? Well, the Vikings then have to change what they're doing. They're taking advantage of what is out there, what's facing them. Well, the market is not going to tell you what to do. The market is just going to do what it's going to do, but you can have strategies. You can be prepared to take advantage of whatever it does. But that takes education, it takes the skill building that we're talking about. But in a self-directed IRA, number one, you eliminate the fees, but then you have a number of different opportunities that you can participate in. And we have classes in all of those. We have instructors. These are professional instructors that trade these markets, that have been doing it for years. Maybe we're floor traders, hedge fund managers, and they're willing to share with you their knowledge, not only about what works, but what doesn't work.
Yep. And that's one of the things that you have to understand is where are you getting that information from?
Yes.
And you gotta have people that have been doing it for many years, and that's what Trading Academy has. Is Trading Academy has been around 29 years. It's not like one of those crazy YouTube things where you see it once in a while and, oh, follow my strategy, you can be a billionaire in a week. Those things are not realistic. Trading Academy is an actual academy that trains these techniques, these concepts, and these skills on how to get in these markets confidently, but also a way you can accelerate that learning journey. And it's by having proper tools, proper steps within a strategy. So one last time, I'd like to invite you to a free trading and investing workshop to understand more about what these tools are, what these strategies are, what these techniques and concepts may allow you to do. If you're looking to create wealth, how do you do that as extra income? If you're looking to protect and grow your retirement accounts, there are strategies designed for that we teach at these free trading and these investing workshops as far as what those strategies might look like. Simply, to come into one of these investing and trading workshops, just text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats, or you can go to tradingacademy.com and you can pick your own seat there. Al, we had a great discussion here today. Let's hear today's tip of the week.
Well, being successful starts with making the decision to be successful. But you can't just talk about how you want to make a change in your life. You have to take action and put in the work. You have to take the first step to make a change. And you know what? Maybe that change, maybe that first step will be what makes your dreams come true. Don't wait to do it later, but because for many people, later becomes never.
I like that. Procrastination is what that is. I'll get at it later. I'll get at it when my duck's gonna get in a row. Well, not many people actually have ducks, but you gotta get started. That first step is those free trading and investing workshops. To come into one of these workshops, just text investing to the number 210 or go to tradingacademy.com. Follow the podcast, Investing and Trading Live on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Trading Academy. Invest differently, smarter, skillfully. As always, same time, same place next week. Until then, retire young, my friends.